Okay, so ladies and guys, let's say not you, but there's a couple that are in a relationship, and she isn't sleeping with him. It's like a dead bedroom scenario. You know what I'm saying? Right? The passion's like he's keen, he wants it, but she ain't giving it to him, and they're married. Okay. At what point? How long is he expected to put up with that before he steps out?
All right, that's a good question. So, sexless marriage. How long should he tolerate his woman not smashing?
The time frame.
Actually, we're talking about this in the documentary bit.
Huh.
Okay, we'll have Louis go last. What about you?
I don't know.
6
honestly.
months,
No.
3 months, 12 months.
In your opinion.
A week.
Oh,
2
a week
weeks.
is the longest.
Remember, he's not getting sex from his wife.
Yeah, and he's married, so
Crazy.
How long before he leaves?
How long do you expect that guy to wait?
So like, what is he like? Will he like cheat on me or like?
It's not you.
Yeah.
It's some other. Let's pretend it's somebody else. It's like it's someone else. It's just this hypothetical couple, and like you're an observer looking from the outside. Let's take you out of it.
Yeah.
You know, how long is it realistic for
Good
that
idea.
guy to wait before it's not wrong of him to like step out and fulfill his needs?
So honestly, like, it really depends because say for some reason she had like a miscarriage or she had a baby.
No.
And, like she
Medical
literally
problems.
like medical issues.
Let me stop you there.
Like,
It is just her opinion,
Yeah.
how she feels in the moment.
She's just
Let's go.
She's just fallen out of love with
Yes.
the guy. That's the scenario.
so
Well, if she fell out in
why are
love,
they
then-
together?
They
Yeah.
were in love before, and it's been however long you determine, and now
They're married.
they're married and they don't have sex.
How long till he steps out?
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say like 6 months.
6 months, and
That's a
then
long
it's like
time.
It's a
she
long time.
she ain't
but
playing
like,
for 6 months, and it's like, all right, that's it. And end of the line, he can get his own on the side.
it's just hard because I've actually been in a situation like that where like he
You weren't putting
wouldn't-
out?
No, he wasn't, and I waited.
What the
yeah,
fuck,
it,
nigga? Yo.
Yes,
How long?
Yeah, how long?
it
Haram!
was
Wrong
like,
one, but nice try.
2 months.
What's wrong with you?
2 months?
Okay, don't come at me.
Absolutely
Okay,
not.
Hold on, Sterling. What nigga says no to his girl?
that's what I'm saying. That's
For
why
2
we're not
months?
together.
He's gay.
That is why we're
And you
not
waited
Something's
the
together.
wrong
whole
with you
time
then.
without
That's a good-
doing
He's
it with anyone
Stupid.
else?
I was dumb. Okay,
I mean,
it was a blonde woman, guys.
Probably
okay?
sex is whack though. She's probably a starfish, bro.
Oh,
She
you
probably lays there.
wild.
She's like,
No.
Was it
He might
Oh
be at
my
this
God.
point. I don't even
Fresh.
know.
No,
She's a starfish, bro.
Did
I'm not a
Did he cheat on you in
Yeah,
that
you are, bro.
starfish.
situation?
No, he didn't cheat on me, and I didn't cheat on him.
You
I
just
should've-
broke it off. You broke it off. after
Yeah,
2
we
months.
just broke it off.
All right. Next. I'm
He
curious about
was
everyone else.
cheating, babe, if he didn't give you none. He
That's
was
what
I was
and he
thinking about
might.
that too. I'm like, if
He
he
might.
wasn't doing it with you,
I
he's
think
not
the
gonna go
man
2 months
should
without doing it.
step out
Mm.
immediately
Hold on.
because if
What?
I'm not getting none,
Hold on.
I'm stepping
So
out.
you're saying like 1 day, 1 week.
No.
Wait.
Maybe like a week. Like
So the limit is a week.
maybe
Yeah.
like there's something going on with her mentally or something. I don't know. Give her a second to figure it out. But really, after
Yeah.
a couple days, like if she's not giving you any,
He can
maybe
find it somewhere else.
and really break up with her because like why are you going to find
Well,
somewhere else?
if he breaks up with
and
her,
you're
he
still
loses
with her?
he loses off his bank account. That's the problem.
Oh, if he loses off his bank account, yeah, step out
Right.
without telling her.
How about you?
First of all, it's never gonna be okay and never right. Stepping
never
out,
okay,
it's never
but
okay, which
baby,
was
if
part of
you're
the
not
question.
fucking me-
However, realistically,
How long should he wait?
he should wait until she's ready. However, or just break it off. That's what he should do. However, realistically,
Time frame.
knowing y'all, what you're going to do is
Okay.
y'all probably will wait. Maybe I give you. It depends upon the person.
I'll give you a number.
It depends upon the person. If you really loyal and you really love your woman, but it's just like y'all still a man at the end of the day.
Oh,
The
stop paying
loyal
your
ones will
bills.
wait a month. The non-loyal ones probably wait 2 weeks.
Man, I'll stop paying your bills, man.
So you're saying a month. You're saying like a month.
I'm gonna say a month.
Okay.
maybe like 2 weeks.
You're saying 2 weeks. Okay. These are much more generous answers than I was expecting. To be fair.
I was gonna say 2 weeks too.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
3 months.
Okay. Huh. You know, if you
All right, what if he didn't pay the bills for 3 months?
Ooh.
Would that be fair?
No, I'm trying to like my answer reflects on like
you know, like when a woman gives birth and they can't do it for like, I think it's like 2 months, right?
Yeah, but this is
we're
not that.
saying
This
no
is not
matter
that
what.
how,
but that's
situation.
what my answer reflected
Yeah, but that's
on.
not the scenario. Assuming that she's fine.
Yeah.
No, I didn't just like, you know,
I'd say 3 months.
3 months still? Okay, what if he doesn't pay the bills for 3 months?
Then I would pay them.
Okay.
Or we would
You
have
would pay
to
them?
sleep with, no, we would have to like have a house with no lights on till somebody pays them.
No,
Yeah,
okay.
that's probably what's going to happen. There's no lights. Would you stick around for those 3 months? You don't want to give sex, he just doesn't pay the bills for 3 months? Is that fair?
Wait, say that again?
You don't want to have sex for 3 months, he doesn't pay the bills for 3 months. Fair?
Come on, Ruby, it's not hard.
No, it's not fair.
Why not?
Why not?
You're not doing your job. Why should he do his? Yeah, and her answer, right? This goes to show what I've always noticed about females. Like, you guys can go ahead and abstain from your duty, but like we still have to do our duty all the time. We still got to protect you guys and listen to your stupid stories and hang out with you and give your boyfriend energy. But like, you guys don't have to put out, which I've always thought was kind of interesting. I think your sexuality is your main commodity. So if you don't provide that, then the guy should leave you.
I think when it
I would
comes
just like leave you.
when it comes down to being a mom, I think they don't women. I say they because I'm not a mom, but they don't have. Also, they can't just stop and
Well, this is
stop
that's
doing
not
their
the
job.
scenario.
You can stop paying the bills, and a woman still has to be a mom, so she still has to do her job.
Well, that wasn't the scenario in this case.
Not
We're
a
talking
problem.
about just like
She don't feel like
you just don't feel like
It's
it.
just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
things happen. People get sick. Obviously, that's not the scenario.
People get
It's
sick.
just the-
I'm not saying that she just gave birth. I'm saying he said if we don't feel like fucking no more,
Yeah.
and they don't feel like paying the bills no more, it's kind of like, okay, but women still have to be a mom even if they don't feel like
Yeah, but children
fucking.
aren't
Even
in
if
this
they
scenario.
feel like fucking.
I know,
But
but
children
women-
aren't in this
it's
scenario.
not
And if that was the
kids,
case, then I'd take 50% of the kid. She takes 50% of the kid. Boom, now we're fair.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
But like my thing is, why are y'all still together if y'all ain't fucking?
Good
Hello.
question.
You know what's funny?
Very
That's
good.
like-
That's
Very
a better
good
question.
point.
Because
Yeah.
if I'm with my man's, like, okay, like
And that's
if
why I
we're
say
not
he should
fucking
leave.
every night, then why are we together
Who
as well?
Who in here is married right now? Who's married? Nobody, right?
Nobody.
You know, let's ask the.
Louis
well,
married.
Well,
Louis
you,
married.
He's married.
you don't count, but Louis, you're married, right?
You don't count.
Yeah, I'm married.
Louis, just real quick, brother. How long would you wait for your wife to put out for you in a marriage?
That's kind of a personal question. But hypothetically,
Let it out, Louis.
Before you like started to like bring it up, you know, let's say you're not gonna like cheat on her or anything, right? But let's just say, how long would it take before you kind of like had to have a conversation with her about it?
maybe a month.
Okay.
Damn, so you want to say anything for a month? You'd like let her just slide.
I think so.
So you could do a month with
You know,
only off.
When you've been, when you've got kids and life's complicated and, you know, there's a lot going on. So sometimes
month?
things get deprioritized.
That's true.
Yeah.
Louis, real quick, would you ever stop
no.
from yourself from having sex with your wife? Would you ever like say, you know what, I'm gonna not put out?
No. Why would I do that?
Interesting. Okay.
Why would I do that? Seriously.
Because apparently, only one gender has to do that role, and if she does it, it's okay. But if you do it, it's not okay, right?
Wait, I'm confused.
So your guy didn't put out for you. Your
Oh
guy,
yeah, no, he didn't.
so she left right away.
Yeah. Well, not right away, but like
2 months is a lot. That's not right
yeah,
away.
yeah. 2 months is definitely a lot.
Well,
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
but I
there
do
was
think it's
reasons behind it.
I do
but
think
still.
that there's more of a duty for you guys to provide sexual access than us.
Girls have needs too. 2 months
Yeah.
without
Yeah,
having sex.
yeah. The problem is that you guys have too many needs, and we have to fulfill them all.
we don't have
Like
too
we don't
many
have many, so it's like you know, for you guys want tall, ambitious, charming, good-looking, funny, but not too much like of an asshole. Like you guys want a million things, so it's like if we don't give you sex, all right, cool. It's like 1 of 10 things that you guys want that you're not getting. For us, if we don't get sex, it's like the only thing we want from you guys.
Wait, is that like all y'all want though? Like
It shouldn't
Yes.
be the only
want
thing.
sex?
But I don't.
Yes,
I don't agree with that.
That's like 80% of what we want from you guys.
You know, you're talking like you because you've never been married. I think you
Get 'em.
don't understand parts of
Get 'em,
what goes on in a long-term relationship. There's so much more to a relationship between in a couple than just the physical side of it.
I agree.
Especially in when you've been together 20, 30 years, It's built on trust, shared sense of humor, shared hobbies and interests, shared interest in how you raise your kids together.
Sure.
So the idea that it's 80% sex, that's not a foundation for a relationship.
But that's how. But you started the relationship because you obviously found your partner physically attractive first, right? Something. So that's what I'm saying. Like their physicality and their sexuality is the number one thing that brings it. Now, obviously, you can build these things later on, right? These things become more and more prominent in the relationship, but the original reason why men deal with women in the first place is their beauty and their sexuality.
Yes and no. You may be attracted to her because of her intelligence and her sense of humor as well.
That's a small amount.
In fact, you've never. Sometimes there might be someone who, on first look, you think they're physically attractive, and then you get to know them, and because you're not simpatico, the physical attraction goes away.
Sure. But I would say that her intelligence and her personality don't matter to us as much as it is for them. Like for women, like personality does matter to a degree, like being able to have game or whatever. But like, there's a point where a girl is hot where you'll overlook a lot of things. Now, some guys are a bit more, no, I'm going to be more firm on her being smart and intelligent, but that's not like a limiting factor for a lot of men. Like if she's hot enough, guys will make concessions.
Yeah, and then you have to live with the person, and a week goes by.
How is
that going to work? That's not a basis for a relationship. Just to only have the physical side of it.
Sure, but the reality is that like men, these are the things that we typically look at first, and then everything else comes after that. But like we look at looks first, and then a lot of guys get in a relationship, and you're right, yeah, it might not work, which is why so many relationships fail. But it doesn't change the fact that like men always screen for looks first. Not always, but 99% of the time we screen for looks first. Then intelligence and all these other redeeming factors come in after the fact, right? But like men always look, okay, is she hot first? Okay, now I can go from here. Versus like for women, they'll make concessions on looks all the time if the guy has status, if maybe he's funny, if he's charming, if he has, money. Any of these things can like redeem. Like in other words, men are able to redeem themselves in many ways if we're not physically attractive, versus very hard for them to redeem themselves if they're not physically attractive.
Trust me, I know.
It's why girls wear makeup.
Man.
They don't look important.
But I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I feel like you've mixed two different things. One is like, when you first meet a woman in a bar or a club or whatever, what do you first notice? If she's attractive.
Yeah.
But what we were talking about before was relationships, and you were saying that 80% of what a guy is interested in a relationship is sex.
But what I'm saying is we don't even get to the relationship until he finds her attractive first.
Yeah,
her sexuality is her predominant value, and then as you get to know her more and more, that sexuality goes and other traits start to take over for importance.
For sure, but in the question about whether sex disappearing in a long-term relationship, to what extent there are other factors that also need to be valued and that are worth preserving. Like in what cases would you work on the relationship? I mean, basically, if sex disappears, then you talk, you go into counseling, you attempt to you try and figure it out together, especially if there are kids involved.
Sure.
So the idea that you say like you got 1 month and then I'm turning and leaving and breaking up the family, that's ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of guys, like I said, stay in relationships in sexless marriages, whatever, not because so much the family, rather they just can't replace their woman. A lot of guys don't have the sexual selectivity to like be able to dictate terms to their woman where it's like, look, I'm going to walk away if I don't get what I want. A lot of guys just have to stay in a sexless marriage because they don't have leverage in the relationship, which is why so many guys are in sexless marriages. Do you remember the numbers on that one? Like how many guys are in something like overwhelming numbers, something like 50% or better.
It's a lot.
Of sexless marriages are sexless.
You might find it very interesting, Louis, to jump onto Reddit and go down a subreddit called Dead Bedrooms. You'll find a lot of very interesting stories, and it's one of the reasons why I asked this question is because a lot of the stories on that subreddit of the Dead Bedroom subreddit, these guys are going on like 1 year, 8 years, like it's kind of long time without ever like confronting it. They're just letting it happen, And it's obvious. And I look at a situation like that, like how on earth did it get to that point where it's like 1 year and the intimacy's been just disappeared? At a certain point, she's lost respect for the guy, I think. If it gets to that point where there's just no sexual attraction whatsoever, assuming that there's not some other kind of complicating factor in there, right? Like kids or illness or whatever, right? She has to have lost respect for him. I think, for her to not be willing to have sex with her husband after like for such a long period of time, which I see as that's a symptom of something else.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, she may be depressed. She may lack self-worth. I mean, there could be a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Not for 8 years. She don't like self-worth that much.
Yo.
Not 8 years. I'm sorry, Louis.